Point is a tiny town with dark pines, crooked sycamores, and lush, squat hills that tumble on a low, rolling prairie. Shim Franklin, North Point's best and only baker, would give us sugar-dipped donut holes as we passed Shim's bakery those snowy mornings with our sacks of lunch and bags of books. Shim was bent over, forever looking into the lower oven and prodding muffins with a wooden fork, tired from working late December nights baking candy cane cookies, fruit cakes, and bread puddings. But it was Shim Franklin who was blessed at nearly every North Point table at some time during Christmas dinner. I had a dream about Shim, a dream I remember with each December snow. I stood on Caffiere's Hill, overlooking North Point. Shim's was the best and brightest light in the thick, winded snow. I skimmed down Caffiere's Hill on my sled, snow spritzing my eyes as I swerved around the hitching post for Caffiere's bull. Caffiere tied Black Death, we called the bull, to the post so we kids wouldn't sled on his hill. Caffiere, so old he'd forgotten he had a youth, Shim would say. But in my dream, this particular night, Black Death was nowhere to be seen. Caffiere was no doubt home asleep as Shim's light cast shadows of North Point onto the wintry north storm clouds that hovered above as I climbed back atop Caffiere's Hill. I stared into North Point, looking at the lights of homes, barns, and shops that pulled me close and pushed me distant at once. I wanted to jump on my sled, gather ample seed to be never seen again, just swoosh away from all of North Point. Goodbye to the grocer, farewell to the firehouse, sleep in peace, you old closed-door schoolhouse. Oh, I'd miss my family and friends, but I could return as long as Shim's light was there to guide me back to North Point. Each and every star was straining to break through low, gray snow clouds that billowed over my head. And though I couldn't see the stars clearly, I could nearly feel their warmth on my knitted wool cap. And I wanted to be higher, like the bearded explorers on Mount McKinley who broke through the clouds, up through the astral shell and nearly into heaven. Along the horizon, there was only one hill, loftier than Caffiere's, Cemetery Hill, a graveyard for what was once Pine's Asylum, where, it said, people have vanished at night among the crazed ghouls and frothing lunatics packed into the hard dirt of Cemetery Hill, lying in wait for reckoning day to rise and cast aside the dreadful demons of North Point. A terror flashed and tingled from my boot to my cap, since I knew Cemetery Hill would place me dangerously distant from Shim's warmly lit bakery. I flew down Caffiere's Hill, one last time, dodged the hitching post of Black Death, slung my sled across my back, and sloshed toward Cemetery Hill. Around the edges of North Point was the trash and garbage and all rejected matter. Things unable to accept town will, softly domed with forgiving, drifting snow like large hibernating animals. A refrigerator bear, an ironing board alligator, a napping, snoring sedan elephant. I hurried through the snow, caroling in my head to the beat of my buckled boots, and the snow lay heavy on the moon. And I felt the magic of Christmas, dark rooms full of wooden toys with nothing but shadows of shadows, and tiny clacks of moving wooden parts, a snowfield of snap-needled pines sparkling in the morning sun and muffled air for a second, then gone for my last muted note in the brisk night air. Cemetery Hill was rounded with virgin snow, pocked by rows of gravestones rooted before me. I stopped my silent caroling, turned and looked at Shim's reassuring light, then climbed slowly past the markers and rows of snow-covered humps. Was it a fresh grave that had melted the snow covering it, the body being still warm? I hurried past, half expecting a hand to burst through the soil, grab my ankle, and drag me slowly down into the center of Cemetery Hill. There was a brief but brilliant flash at the top of the hill. But when I stopped and stared, all I saw was the swirling wind gathering snow and tossing it about like snorting black death. The grave behind pushed me excitedly forward, while the frightening unknown pushed me hesitantly down the slope. I dropped my sled from my back, and when I started to jump on and ride it back to North Point, I saw Shim's bakery go dark. I stared into the full and final darkness, then turned and ran all the way, dragging my sled to the peak of Cemetery Hill. As I breathed the bitter, bitten wind about me, and twigs cracked in the driven wind and fell into the shifting knee-high drifts, I sat on my sled in the snow on Cemetery Hill and watched the tiny town of North Point turn to dust, ever so slightly, yet ever so surely, each building, barn, and home.